Alright, so this is probably not the first of my reviews that's going to go up today, but it is the first one I'm shooting, utilizing my brand new camera. If you don't know the full story behind that, you can go watch the video that I uploaded yesterday. It explains it early on in the video. I had hoped to get several reviews up today. I'm probably only going to get 2, because I am still playing with the settings on this camera, and so I am still taking a look at it each time I make a video and adjusting things where I see fit, which just simply takes a lot longer than shooting the reviews and then editing them together and then doing any retakes that may pop up. So today, for sure, it's going to be Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Episode 1B, and Gravity Falls, Episode 11. And then I will get Episode 2 of Star vs. the Forces of Evil out sometime next week, and then I'll deal with Episode 3 on Thursday. So let's talk about Episode 1B of Star vs. the Forces of Evil. This is where we're introduced to Star's best friend from back home, Princess Flying Ponyhead, or something along those lines. Immediately, she's a cool concept for a character. She's literally just a magic floating unicorn head, which was pretty cool. Though the theme of this episode was that as Star's previous best friend, she clashes with Marco, who is Star's new best friend. And I kind of get the feeling that that would have fit somewhere later in the season, after we've seen Star and Marco get to know each other better, because we've literally only seen them in one adventure so far. But I also think I know why they placed it here, and I'll talk about that in a second. So the entire episode revolves around Ponyhead shows up at Marco's house to get Star and take her out partying, and Marco tags along. And Ponyhead has a pair of those scissors that were used to cut through dimensions in the previous episode. And so they're not just going to other places, they're going to other dimensions. And there's some really neat locations in this, a floating cloud club type thing with a spike pit underneath, and an arcade where all the games are made out of crystals and the people are like living pixels, and I thought that one in particular was really interesting to me. But Ponyhead is very urgent each time they move on to a new place, and that's because she's being chased by these guys in black suits, so like not like, you know, prim and proper Slenderman black suits, but like black combat suits. And it is revealed when Ponyhead, to get further ahead of these guys, leaves Marco behind at the arcade that they are looking for Ponyhead specifically. I thought they were looking for the scissors. I thought maybe it was a big deal to take a pair of those scissors, but it turns out they were actually sent by her father, who wants to send her off to the reform school that was mentioned in the previous episode, the reform school for princesses, and she has been trying to avoid that. But when she realizes that Marco is in trouble, and that Marco really does mean a lot to Star, she gives Star the scissors, first of all, and then the two of them go back to the arcade. They free Marco, and then the three of them stand up to the guys who were chasing after Ponyhead, and that's when you get the reveal that it was her father who sent them after her. Or maybe it was the school that specifically sent them, but they were sent by the school for her father. I don't really know, but however it specifically works, her father was in charge of these three guys. They were looking for her together. And Ponyhead goes with them willingly to this reform school, leaving Star with the scissors, and she uses them to get her and Marco back to Earth, where they hang out doing the stuff they would have done that night anyway. I really liked this episode, probably more than the last one. Even though we haven't gotten to see Star and Marco interact much yet before this, you did get a sense of their friendship here, so at least that was there, at least that worked. And the other thing that really worked in this episode is, let me tell you, I did not like Ponyhead at the beginning of this thing. She seemed reckless and selfish and possessive, and she's very extroverted, she's very much the go-to-clubs type of person. That's just not the kind of person I generally gravitate towards anyway. But that moment where she realizes that Marco really does mean as much to Star as Star has been letting on, and does a complete 180 for Star, and effectively sacrifices herself to be sent off to this school earlier than she'd originally planned, for Marco's benefit, and even has the forethought to leave the scissors with Star so she and Marco can get back home. That changed my entire opinion of the character. We had been seeing this kind of from Marco's point of view this entire time, and the jealous and possessive Ponyhead was genuinely worried that her best friend was being taken away from her, so she was acting out towards Marco, and we were seeing that from his perspective, and we weren't getting a complete picture of who she was as a person. I still doubt she's ever going to be my favorite character of the show, assuming that she is a recurring character, but I definitely liked her much better by the end of the episode than I did when she was first introduced. The episode also did a really good job of showing us how someone like Star can have friends who are both extroverted and introverted and value them equally. I really like that. You don't see that a lot in television, especially not in cartoons. Usually in cartoons, you have this cast of people with diverse personalities, but they still hang out together and homogenize well and all do the same stuff all the time. Or you just have a bunch of characters who are basically exactly the same. This was an excellent change of pace that constituted some very good writing. As for why I think this episode was placed here in the timeline and not later, is because of the scissors. I imagine they're going to use the scissors a lot to get into shenanigans, and so they wanted to introduce the scissors early, which necessitated bringing in someone from Star's past, and so they brought in Ponyhead here, rather than later after Star and Marco's relationship had been developed further. And like I said, their friendship does shine through enough that it's believable that Star would care this much about him already, so it's really not a problem, and I did really like the episode. I enjoyed it a lot. So far, this show has really struck me as a comedy type of show, and the episode did make me laugh as well, so that's another win. I will admit that as good as I find the show so far, I'm not entirely sure why so many people wanted me to watch it, but I am looking forward to, over time, learning more about this show and learning more about why that might be. As per usual though, I asked you guys, if you have seen this episode, what did you think of it? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22 and I will talk to you guys later.
I'm headed to the slammer.
It's reform school, Cupcake, not jail. Although admittedly it is a lot like jail.